Do you follow your bliss? Do you do what you are passionate about? Do you do what you are enthralled into doing with the passions that are from within you? Do you follow your bliss? Or are you conditioned, and have you remained conditioned, to not follow your bliss and to instead do things without intention? Since we were basically put in this Western world of the 21st century, most people, and I think this is just in general as well, you go to school, you do all this crap, right? You go to school, everything is shown to you of what you should do. You don't make any decisions about what you do. You go to school and they tell you what to do, and everything is laid out perfectly for you, and they say you do this, you go to this class, then the bell rings, then you go to this other shitty lesson where you are undermined and you're not encouraged to learn anything, but you were just preached at all of this. So as soon as you grasp any kind of bearing of reality, you go into a place where they basically, on a subconscious level, tell you to not live with intention, because the intention that they put onto you through their authority is laid out for you that you fulfill that, and you don't fulfill the thing that is from within you, and you don't explore the world, you don't observe the world, you get shifted around very quickly to do these certain things, unless you're very lucky and you have some very good parents that are kind of awake to this crap, or you have a community of people that you yourself have the fight to be an individualist and actually see through the things itself. Then you are lucky, and then you probably actually do see through this kind of thing. But ultimately, the conditioning of not living with intention is very much fundamental within our society. And then we have to ask the question, well, why are people so miserable? Why are people so miserable? If we don't live with intention, then we fundamentally don't have any place to go. We just wake up, we do what we're told to do. The microcosm of schooling, or being schooled, because you've been schooled, you've been fooled, the microcosm of that becomes the macrocosm of the outer world, the corporate system. There's a reason why the film American Psycho is so famous and so popular and so relevant in mimetic internet memes and all of this type of stuff, is because it is a representation of man's inner struggle with and against, fundamentally, the corporate world. That it makes him insane, that it makes him into a psychopath, because it's a repression of the soul. It's a soul repression. Deep repression. Depression is a deep repression of the soul. And that's what the American Psycho film is basically all about. A man who is deeply repressed. So he expresses it in these vulgar ways, which, of course, make him a psychopath. And of course, metaphorical analogies and film descriptions of these types of things can make you see it in that way, which is probably the reason why it's so famous and why it's gained so much traction, because of that, and because we live in that kind of world where we have a lot of people who are uncomfortable, miserable, living in this cubicle square corporate job where they don't have any authority over themselves. They don't live with intention or of their own intention, because they have to bow down to the authority of what is told for them to do, because they have to do the job, they have to make money, they have to do all these things. And of course, within this whole intention or living without intention process that is conditioned into us, we always have to think of the destination. What's the destination I want to get to? What do I want to do? My goals, my future. What job do I want in 10 years' time? And that itself takes out the actual meaning of existence, the meaning of experience, the wonder, the beauty of experience, that we actually live in the present moment. That seems to be pushed away from us, pushed out of our minds. We have to make money, we have to develop these material assets, we have to have these goals that are based around these things that we are expected to attain by society. And then we have to ask the question, well, why are people miserable? Well, it's because we don't live in the present moment. We don't observe reality in the now. We don't actually enjoy reality anymore. Everyone's constantly working on something, which has got to do with the future, which has got to do with you attaining something and then you getting it and then you being happy for 5 minutes, and then you have to think of the next thing. For example, if you think more about the future or your future, about what you're going to do in your future life and where you're going to go, you're probably going to get more miserable because you're putting yourself into stress about something that you fundamentally don't have any control over. I mean, you can only really do what you love to do now and see where that takes you. That's really what you can do. Or you can do the other thing where if you want to be more fulfilled, that's what you'd do. Or you can do something that isn't fulfilling for you to do right now, isn't enjoyable, not something that you don't actually enjoy doing, and you can see where that takes you. But in that process of doing that all the time, you might actually miss out on a lot of things in the present moment of your life, which could be 10 years of things that you could have done instead that you could have enjoyed through the experience of life. And then you would have gotten to that goal that you'd have had in a long-term vision of the future, and you'd be like, well, it wasn't really what I thought it would be. You know, I have to go to university to get this degree, and I have to get this job so that I can make this money, so then I can do these things that seem to be patterns of societal construction, which are representations of what authority fundamentally wants you to do. So you're just playing up to an authority figure that is telling you to do these certain things because everyone else does them, and because everyone else does this pattern of life, we all end up thinking that that must be the thing that we must do, even if it isn't something that I fundamentally feel I should do. So where do you go from there? You have to live your bliss. You have to do what you find is blissful, and you have to follow your heart. Why do we live in a heartless world? Why is corporate America taking over America? Why is corporatism, technocratic systems, taking over capitalism? Where capitalism is in many ways very much fundamentally different from corporatism. Corporatism is kind of it's more like a virus where you corporatize and you bring in all of these systems so that is all under one form of authoritarian control, rather than companies which bring company to you. The businesses are more of like a corporate system. While companies bring company to you, they actually care about what the individual's going to get. They care about the quality. They don't go with the whole planned obsolescence gain method or anything like this, for example. But it's, and we're told, even by people who are successful with money, business, all of this type of stuff, it's like, you should really not follow your passion. That's not the best thing if you want to set yourself up for the future. Don't follow your passion. Follow what would be the smartest thing for you to do, which would be try and make loads of money, get into this corporate job, all of that. Even if it doesn't make you happy, that's better because you make money and then you can have a family and all this type of stuff or whatever, and then have this same structure that everyone else is living a repetitional life as to everybody else. And don't actually follow your passion. Don't follow your bliss. Don't do that, because you're not going to be safe, because the authority of modern society, which has these systems that are placed into your psyche, they will not favour you. And because they won't favour you, then you'll be outcasted by the world. Do you not think that's an issue? That might actually be an issue that we might need to change. That maybe we should reimburse the work and the effort of artists and musicians, instead of paying, these absolute insane amounts of taxes over the VAT level of maybe 40% of the income of a business on a yearly level, towards the construction of roadworks that your local council is doing or some crap. Maybe we should actually reimburse the encouragement of artists to make art, so that they can fuel the encouragement and the enthusiasm of modern society, so that people can actually find a meaning to live and find a reason to live, because they can be inspired by the things around them, instead of just building these spreadsheet document buildings which are sky high that just keep going up and up, So it's like, that's my advocation. Wearing your heart on your sleeve, being passionate, following what you do and what you find passionate. It's the only way to truly try and make a dent in the things that we see are the problems of the modern world. If we follow what we are passionate about, do what we are passionate for, be artists, be creators, be musicians, be poets, be public speakers for things that encourage others. That's my fundamental message in this video. And to live with intention. I think it's fundamentally under that as well, where we are living unconsciously. That's where all the memes come from as well. It's like the memes of the NPC, the memes of this and that. It's people who live unconsciously. They're representations of unconscious awareness or a lack of observation, because we're brought into a world where we are told to be put into information. That there is a formation that we have to be put into, which is information. We are told information about what we should do, where we should go, all of this type of stuff. In terms of school, it starts off in that area, and then it just develops over time, and then a macrocosmic representation of that system is then put into cities, basically, where you do the same thing. You go to your class, which is your job, and then you leave, and then you have break, and then you have lunch, and you do all the same things. So that's my message in this video, is we all need to live with more intention. And if we live with more intention, and we don't just live life in a blur, we will be more accomplished and more challenged, but also more happy with our daily lives.